Welcome back to the channel, guys. This is Let It Eat, and today I'm going to be giving you the lowdown on the build for the sleeper. Kind of doing this video backwards. I am going to show later in the video us getting the rotating assembly together on this engine, as well as some few odds and ends stuff here and there. Just to give you a breakdown of the build, this is an actual LSA top to bottom, head, supercharger, you name it, engine. Everything on it's going to be stock minus ARP stuff, and the rings, I gapped the rings. This is LSA block, crank, you name it, it's all LSA. Came out of a 13 CTSV. Heads are going to have dual springs on them, as you see there. Got a Texas speed cam. I'll give you the specs and stuff on that later. LS9 head gaskets, ARP head studs, just a stock LS2 timing chain, LS7 lifters. I'll be showing you some other stuff as far as what's going on the truck. In another video, I got a bunch of parts at the shop right now. The supercharger is going to go on this, the LSA supercharger with a Z01 lid. Supercharger right now is at Kong, getting ported and getting a pulley put on it at the moment. So hopefully by Friday of next week we'll be able to take a video of the supercharger coming in. But that's where we're at right now, and I'll just kind of go through real quick clips on building this engine and giving you tips and tricks on some stuff. The next engine we'll try and slow down and go a little bit more into specs and stuff like that on how to build an LS, but that's what the plan is for the sleeper right now for Rocky Mountain Race Week. All right, just for your reference, here's the Texas speed cam specs right there. If it'll actually, there we go. Actually, I'll just show you the card. How about that? There we go. So it's 227, 235, 641, 649 on a 114. So we'll see how it does. The videos I've been seeing it idle, it looks like it chops pretty good, and this is pretty decent sized cam, especially for the weight of the truck. Maybe a little too much, but yeah, we'll see. If not, I can put this in something else. 5mm rings came in. We are gapping them. I am literally on the last one. I just wanted to show y'all because there's really no videos online from what I can see on this Proform powered ring filer, and we have figured out a lot of stuff. There is no directions in the box at all. There's little bitty set screws right in there. I mean little bitty right there. They take a teeny tiny Allen wrench. What that does is that tightens this base up, because when you first get it, it'll be loose as all get out, and there's that little guide right there, as you can see, that helps slide it back and forth. What else? Obviously, whenever you got to put your dial indicator on, get it real tight. One thing I'll show you just in a second, whenever you get your ring on there, you're going to have to adjust it off of this little Allen wrench right there. You see the little half moon circle right there? You can turn it one way or the other to adjust how far the ring goes. Another thing is since this wheel is brand new, and I'll show you in a second, the reading gets off, because you can see those little high spots in your disc there. It's going to be like high on that little divot there, low there. So really, once this thing gets wore in and smooth more, your readings on here will be a lot closer. And I'll show you that in a second, but that's what we're finding so far. Okay, to put the ring in here, you actually run it through there and get your ring on the back side there, and get the ring to touch. Get the ring to ride all the way against this pin here and all the way here. Like I said, that's where you're going to adjust how big your ring is. Another big thing that we have found, this set screw right here is very important. Whenever we got it, it was really high, so for a thicker ring, and whenever we'd go to tighten it down here, it was only clamping down on this very edge of the ring. So whenever we were going to grind on this thing, the ring was actually moving just a touch. which will do two things. Obviously throw your numbers off, and two, it's going to cut this ring at an angle, which you definitely don't want. So what I have been doing is getting the ring in there. It's really going to be hard to show you on camera, but I have been running it all the way up against your disc to see how flat it is up against that disc, because you don't want it at an angle. And again, you want to get this thing right here tight. Let's see. No, I didn't get it tight enough. So, and see right now, once you get that tight, you want to see if that ring will move on there. The base right now, I'm actually going to tighten it up right now. See how that base is moving this way, just a touch. So what you do is you get your Allen wrench, which this is probably, I don't know, 7th or 8th ring we've done, and it gets loose just a little bit, but you just give it just a little bit of a turn. Like right now, I can't even move the base. Back it off. There's two of them. That's hard to do right there. I mean, you can barely put like a quarter, not even a quarter, like a 1/16 of a turn, and we'll get to where this base doesn't even want to move. See how much tighter it is? I can't even move that side to side anymore. So, that's to set it up. And right now, I don't know if Kevin can look straight up and down. I'm not completely flat up against that wheel like I'd like, so I'm gonna back it off just a touch and get it to where it is as flat as I possibly can. Got this tight. Again, see if your ring moves. It's not moving off that little spot, it's touching there. So the last thing before you start grinding, you got your dial indicator right now, which obviously it's showing 30. We're gonna spin that to where it's showing 0. And what I do there is I just touch it and let it bounce back. And as you see right now, we're at 0. I'm gonna back off of it a little bit, turn the wheel just a touch, and see we're about 1/1000th difference. And right there, about 2/1000th difference. I'm just slowly turning the wheel down around 2/1000th difference, which obviously I need to move there because it's closer there than anything so far. And it was way worse when this wheel was brand new. I mean, it would go from 3/1000ths to -3/1000ths. I mean, it had almost sometimes a 10/1000th range there. And now that we got some wear on this disc, it is doing a lot better as far as that goes. So yeah, right now I'm at 19 thousandths on this ring, and I need to take off approximately 5 to 6. So, and I'll show you whenever you get started on here. See, it's already moved a little bit there, but yeah, I'm back to close to 0. Once I start the machine up, don't let the ring be hitting the disc right off the bat, and you'll see whenever the disc actually physically starts touching the ring right about in here. We got 0, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, about 4,000 there roughly. And we'll stop it, let the wheel come to a stop, go back, and see, we're going to be close to about 5,000ths off as I turn the wheel around. And so now I'm going to take it off, take it over there to the block and check it with a filler gauge and see how close we are. And once you get it off, I've been holding it right over this yellow, put the camera over here. I've been holding it right over this yellow pad, touching the rings together to see if they are in line, and it looks like it from what I can see. You want them to be straight on each side. You don't want it to be like that, or you don't want it to be like that just a little bit and come down, because you can do all kinds of different ways where you just cut that edge or that edge. You want them flat as possible. So let me go check that, and if we need to grind some more, we'll grind some more. Okay, so come over to the hole that you're in. If this one's supposed to go on number 8, check number 8. Don't check the same cylinder every go round. So we're gonna check this one. According to that, I took off around about 5 thousandths. This is just a spare, well, it is a slightly good piston. It's got some chunks right there, so it's going to be our tester. I've got the second ring on here, and what you want to do is get it in there and make sure this ring is setting in there real good on the piston, because if you have it all the way off to one side, the piston will shift like that and throw you off. So make sure you got the ring pretty well set on the piston, that way it don't throw your readings off. And then just slightly push the ring down in there, and then of course there's your gap. Take your feeler gauge. I was at 19 thousandths, and right now it's not quite 23 thousandths, so took off about 4 thousandths. Like again, that over there, that dial indicator, the dial indicator on here was showing us roughly 5 thousandths, and again, this disc right here is what's throwing you off. So if you think you're cutting too far, stop, measure it. Just keep measuring it. You can always take off, but you can't put back on more. So I'm going to take off another about 2 to 3 thousandths on this one and be done with gapping the rings finally. All right, so we're using mailing pre-lube here for our bearings, our crank, anything like that. Whatever you do, you don't want to use this on your rings. On our rings, we're actually going to use just straight conventional oil. That way they can see a little better. Alright, then you want to put you some oil on the rings and on the skirt and stuff. I already put oil inside the cylinder walls. Right there. And spin your rings around just a little bit so all sides of it get lubed up real good. Besides your oil ring, I wouldn't spin it around. And as far as the way I clock them and the way most ring manufacturers recommend it, as you see, that's the dot right there that needs to go towards the front of the engine. This is number 8. And so, and then on the oil rings, you're not going to be able to see it with a camera, but I got the bottom oil ring there, the other top oil ring there, and in the middle expander ring is right smack down the middle of that wrist pin. So dot to the front, so this is going to be the top of the engine. Number 1 ring I'm going to have like that to the top, and then the second ring we're going to have 90 degrees away from it. Most every ring manufacturer is going to say run 180 degrees from the other ring. The oil rings don't matter as much. And if you never use one of these, buy one. Whatever size you get. This is a BTR one. Summit makes them. All kinds of other companies. If you're using the adjustable one, this will change your life. I promise you. I've used the adjustable one for years and years and years, and it does work, but it takes forever, number 1, and number 2, you're a lot more likely to break rings whenever you're going to get it set and getting it on the block and all that good stuff. Whereas on here, you just sit there and kind of wiggle them in, get one side of the ring in and wiggle the other side in, and then it's set. And then get it to where it's about where the wrist pin is, like so. Again, here, and then your oil rings is how I showed you. Make sure your crank is at bottom dead center, that way you don't gouge it. They actually make a tool that goes on here, that way it'll guide you a little better. I do not have that, so we're gonna do it the old-fashioned way, where you get the skirts in there just right. Make sure that this is on the block securely, so you might give it a tap around like that. Hold it down. I like to go, I don't know if you can get this or not, I like to go from the bottom side and guide the rod itself, that way it don't hit anything as I'm hitting on it, just like so. You just want to barely tap it. If you feel it getting any kind of bind, stop and pull it back out. And right now, okay, see, we're past the block, so we can get rid of the oil and the ring compressor. And again, I'm just going by touch down here and making sure that my piston doesn't need to be turned. See, I just turned it just a smudge right there. You'll actually hear it bottom out here in a second. Right there. It changed noise. As long as you didn't hit anything else, that means you're good. So we're going to turn it upside down, put the cap on, and go from there. Alright, so we're about to put the cylinder heads on. Got to clean the deck up right here. Got the lifters all in, got the pistons, everything cleaned up, looking shiny as all get out. This head's torqued down, got the cam in, timing chain looks good. Hopefully we'll have this long block all done tonight. Alright guys, it is Saturday, August the 22nd at 2:32. And yeah, I think we got the long block all done at Kevin's house. Yep, we're watching Hot Rod Garage, and just got done cleaning up in his engine room. As you can tell here, the cleanest, coolest engine room ever. Yeah, so long block is done. About to put it in the trailer, head over to the shop. Goals for today is to get this engine stabbed in there, get the headers put on. That's the goals for today. Hopefully tomorrow I can get the new fuel pump, which I will show you on there. Fuel pump on the truck. Also, I have another 6.0 at the shop. My supercharger's still not here, so we're gonna mock up Kevin's. He has the LSA supercharger too. We're gonna mock up Kevin's LSA supercharger with all the accessories on it, because I'm worried about belts being aligned, because I am running a stock lower LSA pulley, and then I'm running, of course, just a lot smaller pulley on the actual supercharger. Then I got 8 rib pulleys that go on the alternator, power steering pump. Then I have a LSA tensioner, and then I have something else. Oh, I have the bracket that moves this alternator over, that way the supercharger doesn't hit it. So I'm going to hopefully get that all done this weekend. That way it'll actually put us on some type of schedule, because we are running out of time. Got to be in Tulsa September 13th at 2:30, I believe. 2:30, 3:30. Anyway, middle of the day, September 13th. And yeah, got a long ways to go.